Hello, listeners. Welcome to your favorite podcast, Chirping Birdie. Hopefully, you are staying warm in this cold Melbourne winter and listening to us from the warmth of your blanket. Today, we are going to have a chat about leadership. Sounds complex, isn't it? But you know what? Leadership is such an integral part of our lives that according to Vogue, whenever two or more people get together, the process of leadership is bound to take place. There are several styles of leadership and they all have their own pros and cons. But I think the wisest leaders know how to switch from one style to another when situation demands. For instance, traditional approaches of leadership are not at all applicable to early childhood educators. And that is why a unique form of leadership has emerged which is specially suitable for early childhood settings. As their profession follows a collaborative approach to create an inclusive environment, leadership in the early childhood needs to work towards creating a community. It can be ensured in several ways. For instance, leaders can influence and motivate staff to positively contribute to creating a creative early childhood program. They can also invite valuable inputs from parents about the effectiveness of the curriculum. Parents can also oversee the cultural appropriateness of the program. In addition, leaders can effectively administer their program and plan for and implement changes to improve organizational performance. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, leaders can supervise and guide staff to enhance their professional growth and personal development. Fun fact: leadership styles also significantly influence the administrative practices in an organization. According to New Gibor, a director's leadership style profoundly influences the teaching approach in the center. He highlighted the fact that when a center leadership encouraged a team approach and decision-making took place in a team environment, staff were more dedicated and trusting and more goal-oriented and successful compared to the centers where interpersonal relationships were given less importance. In my opinion, democratic motivator role is the best leadership style for an early childhood setting, and it is a director's leadership style which sets a roadmap for the organizational vision and employees follow it in their day-to-day efforts. Dear listeners, do you know that leaders in early childhood also act as activists and advocates? Surprising, isn't it? But in fact, it is the professional and ethical responsibility of all leaders in early childhood profession to act as advocates and activists to identify and remove any barriers to well-being of the children, and very often they are well placed enough to do so. For example, an educator is most likely to be the first individual outside the child's family to be able to recognize and identify any signs of child neglect and abuse. Or a room leader might be the first person to recognize a parent suffering from postnatal depression. In both these cases, educators can take all the necessary steps that will help the children. In fact, the more early childhood educators engage in advocacy and activism, the more the interests and rights of the children can be supported. Now that we had an entire conversation about leadership, one object that I think represents a leader's role is a bridge. Like a bridge, a leader facilitates passage of ideas, connects people who are in different areas, and serves as an efficient way to get to the destination. What is your idea of leadership? Which object do you think represents the role of a leader? Something to ponder about, isn't it? With that thought, I'm saying goodbye now. Have a good